we're going to try to learn how to cook for ourselves. We're going to start with easy stuff, basic recipes. Anybody can do them. Really cheap, usually under about $10 for multiple meals out of each one of these. This is going to be one of my new series here on Eat, Drink, Respawn. Very excited about it. We're going to do both easy recipes like what you're going to see today. We're also going to do more complicated recipes a little bit later on. You're going to need some stuff for this recipe. First one being white rice. Now, I got 5-minute instant white rice just as the easiest possible solution. You're also going to need some canned veggies of some sort. I like canned green beans, canned kernel corn. Also a big fan of red onion, garlic, some beef. And then you're going to need seasoning. Now, a lot of people hate pre-mixed seasonings. I swear by Slap You Mama, it's really good. Definitely recommend something to have in your kitchen just for easy seasoning. You're also going to need a couple tools. Can opener, get inside the cans. Spatula, stir shit. Knife for dicing up that onion and that garlic. Also going to need a liquid measuring cup. Big old glass bastard, has all the stuff on the side. This one's already full of the water that I'm going to use because I did it beforehand. And a dry measuring cup. Pretty standard shit. And a bowl. So first thing I like to do is get everything all cut up. So we are going to cut up our good old-fashioned onion here. What you're going to do is you got two ends. You got the root end and you got the stem end. You are going to take this and you're going to cut that stem end off. Make sure you don't have your fingers in there. You need those, especially if you're going to play video games. So now you got this little guy. You're going to flip it on its head and you're going to go right through that stem. Right there. Go right through the center of it. Now, you can be an onionaholic like me. I'm going to end up doing the whole onion. You can do half the onion. You can do no onion if you hate onion, but I find it to be a very good flavor additive to beef. You're going to take your onion here and you're going to look at it. Onions have layers, as I believe that gentleman Shrek once said. You're going to take that top layer. You're just going to start pulling it off. Usually it'll come off in one big sheet, but since I'm making a video, it's not going to do that. Go ahead, pull that off. Put the waste aside. Usually good to have a waste basket or something here, but I am potato, so here we are. And like I said, I'm going to use the whole thing, so we're going to do that on the second onion as well. Second half, I should say. There, that one came off the way it should have. And then, in order to get this little guy down to what we need, you're going to have your stem end over there. You're going to have your onion here. You're just going to take it down and slice down, not going all the way through, leaving some of the back end to hold the onion together. Now, the reason you're doing this is to get those layers in the onion to work for you. So you got the layers. If you just take the knife now, after you've done all those slices, and go down in small little chunks, it'll dice for you. No extra steps, just real easy. And you don't have to go through all the way through the back. Once you get to the back, you start to get to that stuff that really starts to burn your eyes. So you just keep slicing it down, real easy. You'll get the hang of it, and you'll be going pretty quick eventually. But for now, you just want to make sure you do not cut your own fingers off, because those don't respawn. All right, now here's where that bowl comes in. Take all this, scoop it into said bowl. Now, I'm making a big batch of this because this stuff works really good for meal prep as well. You can just take it, throw it in some bags, freeze it, then you've got it ready for work when you need it, assuming you have access to a microwave or something. Next thing you want to do is grab your garlic. You just grab that stem and pull off the top. Get rid of some of that paper. And then you got these little guys. These are cloves of garlic. Now, I personally am a proponent of whatever the actual recipe says, double it. Because I don't think there's such thing as too much garlic. So now you got these 3 little pods down here. You take the flat of your knife, keeping the edge away from you. And then you just take the heel of your hand and you give it a good wallop. You will feel the garlic crush a little bit. You give it that good wallop. It's okay if it doesn't hold its shape. We're not 5-star cooking here, okay? And once you've done that, it'll make the skin way easier to come off. Oh man, I love that garlic smell. Come on. Yeah, if I was ever turned into a vampire, the absolute worst part of it, no more garlic, I don't think I could survive. Think about it. Italian vampires, I know traditionally they're Italian, but how do they do it? Because Italians live on garlic. So we're going to take this. Now you've got this little bulb end and then nothing on the other side. You're just going to want to clip that little stem end off because it's icky and you don't want icky. There we go. Get rid of that. And then you're just going to take these and slice them. Same thing, making sure to keep your fingers out of the way. You need those. When I'm doing slicing like this, I like to angle the blade a little bit away from my hands, just because I know I'm a potato and I have cut myself hundreds of times. So we're just going to take this now and we're just going to scoot it over here into this corner because we don't need it now. We're on the next part. Got our good old-fashioned ground beef here. Now, my particular beef comes from Butcher Box because we are a sucker for those like home delivery boxes. No, I am not sponsored, although I would love to be. Butcher Box, hi, see your product. Just slice that little guy open, and then we are going to move on to opening these cans. Easy peasy. And then you're going to want to drain the juice out of here because you don't want that. You don't want that to turn everything into mush. I leave the can lid on just a little bit to where I can use it as a strainer. And I'm going to take those over to the sink. I will be out of camera for a minute. And just pour all that juice into the sink using the lid as the straining device. Huzzah! Got that open. We've got our white rice here. That is going to be about it for that section. I'm going to bring this pot over here. Just need a regular pot. And the beauty of these box items is they have instructions, which I love. This one is pretty easy. Boil water. Add rice and stir. Cover and remove from heat. Wait 5 minutes or until water is absorbed, then fluff. Easy peasy. Right here gives you the measurements. So you need 1 cup of rice to 1 cup of water, 2 cups of rice to 2 cups of water. I'm doing 2 cups rice, 2 cups of water. That way we have leftovers for lunches and backup. So easy. Liquid measuring cup into there and over here on the heat on high. Now you can also at this stage add just a little bit of salt to your water. That's going to do a couple things. That's going to season your rice just a little bit. And it's also going to raise the boiling temperature of the water to make your rice a little bit more firm. And we are just going to wait a minute. We got to let this pan heat up. And as soon as you get your beef down on there, this is still a little frozen, I'll admit. I did not pull it out soon enough. But that's the beauty of ground beef. You can get away with that. Here, let me bring in a wooden utensil. It's better for breaking up the beef. There we go. Normally, I would just use the rubber spatula. The heat-resistant rubber spatula, I should say. You don't want to just use like a cake decorating spatula. It will melt to your pan and you will be sad panda. So what we are doing now is we are breaking up this beef and browning it. We want to go to brown. It'll immediately turn gray. It'll also happen if there's too much liquid or not enough space in the pan. But we want to go past that gray to brown. So I started it on high heat. We are now down to a medium heat to let it go. My rice water is boiling. So we are going to pop a hole in our little instant rice box. Grab our dry measuring cup. 1 and 2 cups rice. Now, if you've ever watched any cooking video on the interwebs, you will notice that I did not rinse or wash my rice. That is because that is instant rice. That rice has essentially already been cooked. We're going to throw a lid on that don't fit because I grabbed the wrong one, but I'm running with it. And we are going to remove from heat, as it says in the second step. Yes, I realize I still had you guys trained on the beef. Honestly, that's the important one. And I know you're thinking, but V, what was all that stuff on the top? Was that blood? I don't want to eat blood. I'm not a vampire. Hey, we're putting a lot of garlic in this, so we know you're not a vampire. Now, I will say, no, that is not blood. That is something called myoglobin. Yes, it is found in blood, but it is not blood. You'll also notice I didn't put any fat down in this pan. That is because the beef that I was going to use, I knew had a decent fat content to where I wouldn't need to. So now that we've got the beef to about this stage, not completely browned, but definitely on its way there, I am going to add in my onion because I want it to saute off as I'm browning. I dump that whole thing in there because I freaking love onion. We're just going to mix that up. Now, the nice thing about this recipe is if beef is a little much for you right now, which I completely understand, pinto beans, black beans, kidney beans, all of those would go just as well in this recipe using the exact same steps for substantially cheaper. A can of pinto beans is like 98 cents. You can go for 2 if you want to make leftovers. So now that I got the onion in there, I cranked the heat back up to about a medium-high heat. You'll notice in my videos, I love to play with the heat because I cook a lot on vision and feel. Now, I'm going to give you some sort of rudimentary recipe at the end of this video or in the comments. All right, we are just going to let that go for a couple minutes because as the late, great Anne Burrell once said, brown food tastes good. This is when I like to start adding seasoning. So I'm going to add my Slap Ya Mama. Now, this is just like a basic Cajun seasoning blend. And I just give it a good sprinkle over the whole thing, give it a nice layer, and stir that in. Now, the reason I waited this long to do it is because when you add salt to anything you are cooking, it is going to make it release water, and you don't necessarily want water to release too early or too quickly because then you're not going to get to that brown meat that I talked about. Now, if you're like me, when I was just starting out, I only had one Walmart pan. It was about this big. It was like a 9-inch saute pan. That is perfectly fine. My recommendation would only be doing half of this amount or even a quarter of this amount, especially if you're just cooking for yourself. Now, me, I'm cooking for a family, and we take whatever we have for dinner for lunch the next day. Here we are. All right, now I'm getting pretty happy with where that's at. We are going to take that garlic that we chopped up a little bit earlier, and we are going to dump that all in there now. Now, I waited on the garlic and didn't put it in at the same time as the onion because garlic is very good at burning. And then you're going to get a bitter taste, and you don't want bitter. So the lovely thing about garlic is it's pretty good at telling you how cooked it is just by how much you can smell it. So I'm already starting to smell this garlic quite pungently, which means we are getting close to needing to add in the last of our vegetables, which for me is green beans and corn. Nothing fancy. We are going super easy just to get some basic nutrition down our gullets. Now, I will say it's tasty, especially if you hit it with some like soy sauce afterward. I'm a big fan of soy sauce and hot sauce in this particular meal. I don't cook it in because my family has different tastes than I do. But this is something we call Bachelor Chow around my house. It's essentially homemade hamburger helper, but you are going to get less preservatives, less filler crap. You're going to get the same boxed flavor that a lot of us know and love from our childhood in just a basic at-home meal. And once we've got these veg in here, all we're really doing is incorporating and heating. I would say that is done. Now we are going to take a handy-dandy fork, come over here to our rice, which I will bring it over here. So we're fluffing it out, but it is not quite done because it still has all that water. So we are going to put the lid back on it and let it sit. Throw a little bit of rice in the bottom of your bowl, a little bit of meat and veg. My wife really got me into this Aloha soy sauce. It's really good, but you can use basic Kinkoman, store brand, whatever. It doesn't matter at all. A little bit of soy. I like Tabasco sauce. It's not too hot. It's not hot at all, if we're being completely honest, but I really like the flavor. And see, that's it right there. Simple as that. Basic nutrition, very easy to make. You got vegetable, you got protein, you got fat, you got carbs, you got some antioxidants in the garlic and onion. You've got everything a growing boy or girl or they needs. You guys give this a try. Let me know what you think. I know it's very basic. That was the point. The point of this was definitely super basic. Anybody can do this. It's tasty, it's effective, it'll fill up your stomach. It's cheap. You can get a ton of portions out of it. Let me know what you think. If you've tried this, or if you have something that's your go-to quote unquote bachelor chow, I'd love to hear about it down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for checking this out and hanging with me during this rebrand of the channel of Eat, Drink, Reese. We are going to be having more food videos, more drink and cocktail videos, and more video game content coming to you right here. You guys have a wonderful night.